You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 618. I'm your host, Tricky Mick, alongside the man, the myth, and the legend. It's Alex.
You know, listeners, usually Tricky waits until we get into the show proper to piss off Matt and Yield, but today it happened right before we even got to the intro, right before we got to the music.
I mean, did I really piss them off, though? Or did they just, bow their head, shake their heads and, I can't believe Tricky said that?
We're not angry. We're just disappointed.
Which is worse. That's just worse. He brings the awesome and the disappointment in me. It's I yield to no one.
Good news. I got my refund back from Sony.
Good news. The Rangers aren't going to be swept.
Oh,
Dick.
what a bummer.
You're a dick.
Hey, I'll just start posting random baseball and football stuff in the site.
Okay, first of all, outside of maybe today, I have not posted exclusive Ranger stuff. I've just posted cool hockey things.
No, you posted Ranger stuff pretty much all season.
No.
No.
Listen
just a week ago.
Listen to my key word. I post non-exclusive Ranger stuff. I've posted many things that hockey players and stuff like that that's gone through.
You have, but you also posted the Rangers won the President Cup.
Yes, because I wanted to celebrate.
You also posted that life would be postponed until the Rangers were done with their playoffs.
Well, I posted that on my personal page, and I changed my profile picture to that. That wasn't in the Trophy Heroes group.
Yes, that's why I didn't complain about that. That was your personal feed. That I'm okay with.
I just wanted to celebrate the Rangers starting the playoffs, and I wanted to celebrate the fact that they won the President's Trophy, which is a big accomplishment.
It is. I'm not saying that it's not.
What I don't get is I tried to celebrate the Islanders getting a big one against the Rangers before the end of the season, and Tricky just completely ignored that. I put that in our group chat in text, and could Tricky acknowledge it? No, of course not.
Nope.
No, because you. Okay, first of all, you did that as a troll. Let's just be fact. That's troll.
Yes, it is, but that's because you shit talk so much when it comes to sports.
Second of all, I don't shit talk when it comes to sports.
Oh God, really?
When was the last time I gave you shit about the Kentucky Wildcats?
Did I say me specifically? No, Pittsburgh, Ohio State.
Because I haven't posted
the Devils. You've given Matt shit for the Devils. You give shit for the Islanders all the time.
Well, I have to give Matt shit because, well, I don't know.
My point is, you give people tons of shit about sports. I've never heard Matt pick a fight with you over sports and the Rangers.
So I'm going to jump in and say, yes, I do shit on him for the Rangers quite a bit. However, Joe Priestley is the instigator of a lot of that shit.
Yeah, Joe is the worst. By the way,
if we're doing SAT comparisons, a flamethrower to Matt is as is to Rangers jokes is to Joe Priestley.
Just for the record, Jurassic Parky, who is in our Twitch chat, thank you,
Parky.
Parky's here. He said you can't be swept when you're going to win the whole thing. He's a fellow Rangers fan from across the pond. By the way, I just Parky, I don't know if you watched the game, but that goal from Mika to Kreider was a fucking thing of beauty, by the way.
Glad to have Parky here for this video game podcast where we talk about the wins of the New York Rangers. Hey, you know what? They may not get swept this round, but there's always a chance they can get swept next round.
Okay, before I respond to that, Matt, you're also here. You're the man who doesn't care about trophies. Although
Matt, you're also here.
I'm sorry, I didn't do. Okay, it's a bad intro. I apologize. Wow. But I had an intro where it says you're the man who doesn't care about trophies, but you still may because of Ghost of Tsushima. But you know.
You think he'll go for the platinum just because you can get trophies now on PC?
No, but he'll at least earn PlayStation trophies if he plays it.
I hope Sony's link profile link's a heck of a lot easier than Microsoft's.
No, it's not. So,
okay.
and I'll go into this, is that when Helldivers 2 came out and you had to have a PlayStation profile to be able to cross-play, my friend went to create one, even though he doesn't want to. He had no intention of doing crossplay, but there was that question of whether it would actually work or not. And they had him in signing up, and he gave up on it halfway through. They had him do like 6 different captchas to prove that he wasn't a bot. And each time it was more ubiquitous than the last. It was like, hey, click all the bicycles. All right, now click all the bicycle paths. Okay, now click all the buses. Like, it was so stupid to have them go through that just to make a PSN profile.
Matt, you above all people ought to know how dangerous the automatons are.
Can I ask?
The Scourge is back. The bots are back. We can't let one sneak into our ranks.
Matt, I have to ask this, and this is coming from ignorance. Question: are those captures controlled by the websites, or is that an independent company that's doing that?
CAPTCHA is a service provided, so to speak. It's a plugin for websites. So it's not necessarily controlled by the website, but the owner of the website chooses to implement them.
Okay, but my point is, and I'm not defending Sony here, what I'm saying is, could that have been a glitch within the capture section and not a Sony thing?
So the user, the owner of the website will choose how many it wants them to go through for verification purposes. So
Okay. I honestly did not know that. Like because there's some sites like I do 2 and that's fine, and some I do 6, and then
it's a pretty decent system, but even AI now is able to start getting by it. So it's quickly getting outpaced. The problem you run into with CAPTCHAs is when it goes, hey, click all the boxes with the bicycles, and you see the tire of a bicycle in like one little square.
And you don't know whether to click that one.
Does that one count?
Yeah. I remember one where there was a click all the boxes with the fire hydrant, and there was like a little sliver, and I'm like, do I click that? And I didn't, and it failed me.
Well, there's one that I've seen more recently where you have to like slide a puzzle piece over to go into the missing.
And it said you took too
piece
long.
Of the puzzle, huh?
And it said you took too long.
No, you just slide it over. It's not like click all the boxes. It's literally like there's a missing puzzle piece from this image, and it's kind of like above the overlay, or like it's it's above the rest of the image. And you just slide it over.
Yeah, I've done that one too, but I've also gotten told because that I took too long, because I took 10 seconds or something like that to do it.
How did you?
Because I clicked the box, and then I turned to like light a cigarette, and it came back, and then I moved it over, and it was like, oh, you took too long to do this. It wasn't like I messed it up. It was like I just didn't complete it in time.
That's happened to me when like I click on a TikTok link that Tricky sends, and I turn away for 5 seconds to look at something else while it loads, and then I realize I took too long getting back to it. So I'm not going to blame Tricky for that one, but it is definitely a newer thing, and it's pretty useless, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hey, but it solves the problem of those bike tires hiding and overlapping into other images barely.
Except when the TikTok starts before you ever actually finish the puzzle, and you miss the first 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, like Ashley will send TikToks, and like it comes up to where it's muted, and you have to click certain options, and then you can start watching the video. But the video's already 5 seconds in, and I'm like, well, I've got to watch this again. I've got to click out and go re-click the link because.
Speaking of sending TikToks,
take me straight to new videos. Tricky, don't cut me off.
Now I was saying, speaking of TikToks, Alex sent me a TikTok which threw me for a loop, because I was like, Alex, join TikTok.
I sent you a TikTok that Ashley sent me. I don't have TikTok. I sent you a TikTok that Ashley sent me where this guy was giving advice on like Mediterranean snacks, and he butchered tzatziki, the pronunciation of tzatziki, so much that I thought that the goddess had to see it.
Well, the funny thing is you said it to me, and at the exact same time, Ashley said it to me as well. I was like, Alex just sent me this. So it just
and the goddess, I can't even replicate what this dude said, but the goddess saw it, and she said, you need to go kick that guy's ass, because what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah. All right, let's get into the show. Let's do our updated trophy count. I am level 904, total trophies of 30,261 with 838 plats. I got my Suicide Squad plat. I had to work around, but I got it. Alex, your trophy, sir.
Tricky, I'm really glad you got that, because I was losing sleep over you not getting that platinum. I'm real happy for you, sir.
You're a dick.
No, in all honesty, like, I understand how annoying it is to not get a platinum trophy, or just not have 100% in the trophies when you should have earned them. So I'm glad you got it. I figure eventually you would have gotten it, but
yeah, I mean, eventually they probably would have patched it or something. Apparently, there was a problem with that gear set, so I had to go back to the original Tier 3 gear set.
But probably the coolest gear set, the Scarecrow gear set.
That's the one that glitched. The Bane one.
No, I know. The coolest one is probably the one that glitched.
Yeah, the Scarecrow one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had to go back to.
Found the Bane one. The Bane one was working.
The Bane one worked. That's what I had to go back and get. That is a freaking. That was a pain in the ass, by the way. But I won't get into that.
So my trophies: level 502, total trophy count of 9,674, and platinum count of 502 in. Oh, no, not 502. A platinum count of 169 and 168 games. Still no trophies, although once I buy everything in the Helldivers 2 War Bonds, which is probably I'll have done by the end of the week, I plan to start Dave the Diver. So I will probably start earning trophies again.
All right. Yield?
Level 508 with a trophy count of 10095 and a platinum count of 186.
All right. Matt?
Do you mind count as updated since they haven't updated for like 2 months?
Yes.
Okay. Level 220 with 1,310 trophies and 0 platinums.
I completely missed Matt's question. What was your question?
I said, does it count as being updated when I haven't
Oh.
gotten a new trophy in like 2 months?
You'll get new trophies. I have faith in you.
There'll be some PlayStation only game that you have to wait for years to play on PC that I'm sure you'll start playing beforehand.
And Sid is level 889, total trophies of 26,924 with 841 plats. All right, so let's get into what we're playing. We'll start with you. But before you tell us what you're playing, tell us about the refund process with Sony.
Actually, it was pretty simple. I went on to Sony's PlayStation.com, found out I had to search to refund PSN, and then there was at the bottom of the page there was a, talk to a live person, although he didn't seem like a live person, but whatever. And I was just like,
"Thank you, Yield, for supporting PlayStation."
Yeah. So I was like, hey, I want a refund. I had to give them information. They're like, well, what game? So I told them the Sea of Thieves Premium Edition. They're like, you've never done this, but we see you never asked for a refund before. And I'm like, yep. They're like, okay, here's your number that shows that you've talked to us. You should have it. You should get an email, and it should be back in your account shortly. And I'm like, okay.
So wait, they didn't ask you with a new Xbox game launching on PlayStation, a previous Xbox exclusive, they didn't ask you
why?
why?
No.
They may want to
Not at
know
all.
that just in case.
No, they just was like, okay.
Maybe they made the
Yeah.
exception because this is the first game he ever tried to have refunded. They just didn't question it.
You know what? I had to I had to climb through hell to get my money back from the Hot Wheels Unleashed DLC that I mistakenly bought. Because you had to buy specifically for the console you were on, either PS4 or PS5. I had to go through hell for that, and that was the first time I had ever asked for a refund. And how long have I been buying on PlayStation for? Since the PS3 era. So, I mean, yeah, clearly in this situation, like they looked at it, and since they specifically asked Yield that question, they were like, okay, well, whatever. But I've only ever asked for one refund, and for God's sakes, it took forever.
The only thing I think the reason I got it, because they're like, well, check and make sure your game is eligible for a refund. And it was within 14 days of purchase. It was, because I was like, refunding a pre-order. So I think because I hadn't downloaded or had launched yet, that made it easier. I'm sure that had it already launched, it would have been a lot harder to get a refund back.
Oh, wait, the game hadn't even launched yet.
No.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't launch until I think this end of the week.
Okay, so that's why you got the refund, because the game hadn't even come out yet.
Nope.
That's why. Okay. All right, so what have you been playing, Yield?
Been playing some Rocket League. Been playing some Helldivers 2. I've been playing Sackboy, A Big Adventure, and fired up The Witness on PlayStation 4.
All right.
I think that's it.
Alex?
Yield, just to give you a heads up, I was looking at playing Sackboy: A Big Adventure on PS5, and there's one particular trophy in that game that I think is giving people fits. Like, there's a very long platforming section, like one level, that kind of gets on people's nerves. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. There's one trophy that might give you a bit of a headache.
Which one? What trophy is that?
It's just one. There's like a platforming, like a pure I'll look up the trophy later and I'll see if I can find it.
I wonder if it's the Get the Gold in the Ultimate Trial in Knitted Night.
I'll have to see. I'll look it up. But yeah, I've seen people do videos on that game before, and it was quite the headache. I have been playing some Rocket League and Helldivers. Don't really have much to add about Helldivers 2, although I wish that there was a booster for reloading faster, because it would be nice to, be able to reload faster. And, it's not like it would be a game-wide thing. You would have to earn the booster. You'd have to buy the booster. And just be a nice little perk, just like anything else they do in that game with the boosters. Rocket League on Thursday with Yield, Nitro, and Tricky. We played some Chaos, and, I think between the four of us, we may have won 5 or 6 games and only lost 1 game. So we did really well.
7-1.
7-1.
No, 8. I'm sorry, 8-1. 8-1.
Were we really? Did we play that many games?
I only know that because when I looked at the stats, it said that I played 9 games for the one of the challenges. And the only games I played was with you guys. So
I'm pretty sure there's only one loss, but we had a staunch winning record there.
We
So
8-1.
Tricky for not playing very often. He definitely helped us out there. So glad Tricky could jump on and help us get some wins.
And it's also worth noting that the only goal I scored was when Alex bashed into me.
No, I bashed into you.
Oh, was it you? Was it you?
Yeah.
You're always looking to blame things on me.
No, I was giving you credit. I'm sorry. I gave credit to the wrong person. Yield, I'm sorry. Yield's the one that bashed into me.
Credit to the right people.
Yield's the one that crashed into me to score my only goal that night.
But hey, you know what? Goals aren't the only thing that matter. If we win, you've done your part. So, I don't know if we want to give congratulations to Nitro right now because he revealed it to us during Rocket League. But
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let him reveal it.
All right, whatever. Heads up, though, for anyone who likes Rocket League and X-Men, there is a crossover promotion with Disney Plus coming up with X-Men items coming to Rocket League. So right now they've got the Avatar stuff going on. If you're an Avatar fan, jump on because they got some pretty cool decals for the cars. In Rocket League, they also doing some of that. It's also a crossover with Fortnite as well. But yeah, X-Men things are coming to Rocket League, and there's some stuff for Gambit, Wolverine, Cyclops, Magneto, Jubilee. Nothing for Colossus or Beast, which I'm disappointed about. But I mean, I understand. I get it. So,
I'm sorry. You got Jubilee, but you don't. You have Beast.
Yeah, Beast was one of the original members of the X-Men. Remember? But yeah, I mean, still some cool looking stuff. So if you're an X-Men fan, definitely check it out. I don't think it's the X-Men 97 stuff. I'm pretty sure it's.
No, it's X-Men 97.
So the new series. Okay.
Right.
Which is obviously just a continuation of the X-Men series that was airing during the 90s. So, still haven't watched that, but I'm excited to see what items are coming to Rocket League. I've only seen a few of the decals so far, but.
All right. Yield, if you play Sackboy, because you have to get some multiplayer trophies, just let me know. I have to wrap that up too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's some multiplayer trophies. So.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of multiplayer trophies.
Yeah. I was looking through the list to see which one Alice was possibly talking about. I don't know. But Matt, what have you been playing, sir?
So also put some time into Helldivers 2. It was nice getting a lot of the medals that came with the major orders. Good job, Helldivers, killing 2 billion bugs in less than 24 hours when they were given 5 days to complete that major order. So that was a masterful achievement. Also been playing some Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the original Mass Effect. I'm still plugging away at that. I've done some retro gaming on the Steam Deck, including games like Adventures Island, and what else? I think I played like a PSP, Ridge Racer on the original PSP. And then in honor of the Fallout show, my friends and I have gotten back into Fallout 76, just making our way through the Appalachian Wasteland. And, they've done a lot to improve that game over the years, and it's more like a traditional Fallout game. So it's still a lot of fun.
You're not the only one, because we've been watching the Fallout series too. We're through 2 episodes, and Ashley's already downloaded 76 as well. She was playing it earlier. So.
Yeah, it's and tell you, play with somebody, it's fun. Just exploring, finding shit, determining whether or not, hey, I found that power armor. Whether you're sneaking that or you're being magnanimous and giving it to your teammate.
And we should. And I do want to say, Matt, before we go on, sorry, but the Fallout TV series is really good. You don't have to be a fan, really, to enjoy it. It's just kind of good on its own. Because I've only played one Fallout game, Fallout 3, and I enjoyed it. But I'm not the biggest Fallout fan. But I mean, we really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Even Tricky was watching it, and though he sent me a text message saying I finished Fallout and I have more questions than answers. It's the nature of watching TV. But yeah,
let's be real. Tricky just sometimes doesn't get popular media, whether it be
no. Hold on a second. I'm confused because I never played any of the Fallout games, and to ask the questions of why I'm confused here would spoil the show. So me and Matt are going to do a Patreon episode on the entire series.
Oh, wow. Thanks for including me.
You can come.
You said me and Matt.
Well, that was the plan. I didn't think you were watching.
I just said I watched 2 episodes.
Okay, well then...
Alex, would you like to do a Patreon episode with us?
Matt, you're so considerate. You are so considerate, Matt. I appreciate you.
So, Alex, since you are an Amazon Prime member, you should go to our Twitch page and sub for free.
I mean, I could.
You should.
The keyword is I could.
Matt should do it too, but I just
You could show Monty
not my
Python the
crime.
Holy Grail the reverence it deserves, but you certainly can't do that.
you know what?
Rick
my
is
Prime
going to
subscription.
chew your. He's going to chew your head up and spit it down your neck.
Yield, are you playing Sackboy on the 4 or the 5?
On the 5.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to play that a little bit because I've apparently played the 4 version, and I'm looking through the trophies right now. There's a lot of zeros on this. Nobody apparently. Oh wait, this is. Never mind. Apparently, there's an unreleased Sackboy adventure, according to PSN profiles.
I looked it up, and that trophy that you mentioned earlier, the gold one, on the old, I can't remember exactly what it said, but that is the one that I've seen people refer to as kind of hellish.
I wondered because it's on the PlayStation. It's like a 0.6 or something. It's obviously one of the last ones you get before you get the platinum, and so I figured that because you got to get a gold on the Knitted Knight Ultimate Trial, so I figured that one must be really tough.
Yeah, you gotta have good reflexes.
I wonder why there's an unreleased version of Sackboy.
Probably a different region.
I don't know. It just says 3 people own it. But it says unreleased. I don't know. All right, so cancel my comment about the zeros because I was looking at the unreleased one. Matt, I'm sorry. Were you done saying what you were playing?
Yep.
All right. Question about Fallout. Can it be played in third person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll give Fallout a shot. I looked it up because only Fallout 4 and 76 are available on the 5, which is backwards compatible with 4. So I guess 3, 2, and 1 were PS3 or 2 days.
Or you can use that fancy gaming computer you have to play games on a real platform.
Ew. I don't do PC gaming.
And Tricky, you're sure that they're not in the classics section of PSN Plus?
Why do you have a fancy PC?
So I can stream and podcast.
Okay.
I actually have 2 PCs. I have one over here, which is what I'm using.
At the silver trophy.
And then I use,
This bronze trophy over here.
and then I have one over there that I use for streaming.
I'm really doing the math in my head, and I've got my PC, V's PC, our family PC in the den, my Steam Deck, and her Steam Deck. So that's like 5 gaming computers in the house.
There's one behind you.
That's not a game.
Oh, no, okay. You said
It's
game.
also not one. That's 2 monitors and a laptop.
Why are we picking on Tricky today?
We didn't do it. We didn't do anything.
You upset me before the show even started.
I just said I don't get it.
Okay, listeners. Okay.
Don't.
We've beaten around the bush. No. The Tricky doesn't understand why people like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He doesn't think it's that funny.
Okay, you worded that wrong.
Matt, what about what that was wrong?
I said I don't get it. I didn't say I don't get what people get about it because I don't find Family Guy funny, but I get why other people find Family Guy funny. I get why people find it funny. I'm saying I just don't get it.
I don't understand if you find why the humor would be funny to other people, why you wouldn't find it funny. Because you're acknowledging that it's funny.
Okay.
Because other people would find it funny.
I'm trying to hold back what I'm saying because we are doing a Patreon episode on this. So
you and Rick, and I have a feeling that Rick's going to be none too happy with you.
It's me, Rick, and Matt. But Alex, you could join. I did offer you to join.
Oh, it's good that you're allowing me to join this time. Matt doesn't have to invite me again.
I invited you already.
But also, I don't know. We've determined that you can watch it on Netflix or is it Max? I can't remember. It was one of those two. Something we have, yeah.
Netflix. All right. Let's get into the show. How about that? If I can find the agenda. Great. First one, we kind of alluded to it already. Coming from, I don't know what website. Because Matt didn't put it.
Which one do you think it is, Tricky? Look at the name.
It doesn't say IGN on it.
Was it written by Wesley Yenpool or Rebecca Valentine? Who wrote this?
Taylor
Lyles.
Okay, all right.
Which But normally when I put a link for IGN up there, like the fourth one down, it does say IGN attached to it.
Well, see, that's the thing. You always add IGN to the end when you know I'm just going to add
No.
IGN under the title. So this
No.
I messed with your process.
No. I don't put IGN on there. When I go here, listen, this is a little feedback. When you put a link into a Google Doc and then you go to link it, sometimes it pops up on the bottom and says, "Is this the article you're trying to link?" And you say yes. That adds the IGN. I'm not adding the IGN. Anyway, coming from IGN, written by Taylor Lyles, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is the first PC port to include PlayStation Trophy support. In the latest PlayStation blog, Nixus Software revealed how Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut for the PC will have a new overlay, including an introduction of attainable trophies. Editors note, "Ooh, our computers are being infected with trophies." That comes from Matt. And
it is a sickness.
And this Ghost of Tsushima will be coming out on PC on May 16th. Matt, will you be picking this up?
No, I picked up the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I got the upgrade from the 4 to the 5 when I first got when it came out on the 5, and played it there. It was amazing. And, it's unfortunately, I don't have time to play another game like that. Like when Forbidden West came out on the PC, I was like, I really should get this again because I'd played. No, I don't have time to play those massive games through again.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you, but I got the lights on the back of the TV that, they shine.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
Playing Ghost of Tsushima on that TV, when you do the, I don't remember what it's called, but when you do like the simultaneously killing back and forth and the screen turns bright red. That effect on the wall and the TV is fucking phenomenal. It turns the entire room red. It's great. Yield and out.
It is a phenomenal game. If you have not played it and you now have a chance to play it on PC, you should pick it up. It's great.
So, what do you guys, Alex and Yield? What do you guys now think about being able to earn PlayStation trophies on your PC games?
So can you earn Steam achievements and PlayStation trophies by buying the game on Steam?
So I imagine this is where it gets muddy because I'm not sure if having the trophy is going to replace the Steam achievements because technically all games that come out on Steam should have Steam achievements. So maybe you're getting the Steam achievement and it's just syncing to be a trophy on your PlayStation profile.
Because that's one thing when I saw this that I didn't really understand is a lot of these, I don't know if Epic Game Store has any kind of achievement system of their own because I've never bought anything from Epic Game Store, but Steam specifically, I know they have their own achievements. So I didn't know how that would work with earning PlayStation trophies as well.
Well, so that was a big complaint about Epic coming out when they did with their storefront. I don't recall their games having achievements because that was a big thing that we all said you're bringing out a store in 2019, 2020, whatever year it was, and you said your games don't have achievements. That's a weird thing to do. It was missing a lot of features. Maybe
unless you're Nintendo. It's normal for Nintendo.
There have been some Nintendo games that have achievements in-game as opposed to tied to your actual profile. So get the best of both worlds. I don't have to put silly achievements on my games, and I don't have to worry about where they are in the game.
Okay, I just Googled will PlayStation trophies replace Steam achievements. I can't tell you where this is coming from, but the little blurb says Sony has confirmed that PlayStation trophies will carry across platforms, including PC, so you could earn trophies on your PlayStation account and see them on other platforms. However, achievements unlocked in games on Steam or Epic Game Stores are not precisely PlayStation trophies, and you can't register their unlocking on Sony systems.
So on the Steam store page, it specifically says Steam achievements. So you're going to get Steam achievements. The question is whether the achievements are in sync with what the trophies are supposed to be on the PlayStation, and it sounds like there's no guarantee of that.
So what? You read the article, I didn't. What is the overlay they're talking about?
So there is, if you've ever played an Xbox game on PC, there's an Xbox overlay. And it's just basically, all the options you would get on an Xbox console, your socials, your achievements there. So all this means is like, if you're playing it on the PC, there's going to be some button combo you can press that'll bring up the overlay in front of the screen, in front of the game you're playing, and allow you to see your trophies, your PlayStation friends, things like that.
Got it. Sabers entered the chat. He says, Fallout show is off the chain. And then he says, Madicon. And then he says, Tricky, start braiding your beard.
What's up, Saber?
I got to wait at least another 6 months before I can start braiding it. It's too short right now. Right now, it's just covering my 3 chins.
But considering that Sony has used PlayStation trophies as a marketing tool to sell games, it's not any surprise that this is now coming to the PC market as well. It was only a matter of time.
My question is, are they going to go back and patch the old PlayStation games to allow this to happen?
I could see that being a thing that occurs.
Yeah, but you also got to think that they didn't do that with like Heavenly Sword and Lair. Like Ratchet and Clank Future Tools Instruction has never had trophies, and they've never gone back and put them in there.
I think that's a little different. I think adding the overlay. I'm not saying add trophies to the past games. I'm saying add this overlay back to it, which I think would be much simpler.
Sorry to jump in, but you got to think
fine.
All the games that are on PC now are recent Sony games. Your Spider-Man, your Miles Morales, your God of War, now your Ghost of Tsushima. These are going to be games that they could feasibly add that overlay and then maybe back patch some trophy support in. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and just to add the point is like those games came with trophies and achievements already, where Heavenly Sword you would have had to go back and patch in.
Yeah, but do you have to go in and do work on the back end? Because since these games are not unlocking trophies, I don't know if the Steam achievements are the same one-to-one as the trophy list on the PlayStation, but are you going to have to go into the back end and mess with the code to get the trophies to pop? Because
I would assume they're the same.
Yeah, but it's not like the trophies are hidden in the code and they can just go in with a key and unlock it. They're going to have to go in and add those trophies in, I assume.
Well, no, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
You said it, Tricky, was that the article said that there's no guarantee that the Steam achievements will carry over to the PlayStation trophies.
Well, no, okay. So I Googled, will PlayStation trophies replace Steam achievements? I don't know what article this is coming from because there's 2 links that are underneath, one from Level Up and one from Tom's Guide, and I also don't know when this was answered. So this may have been at the onset of PlayStation games on the PC.
So my bigger question, and I'll leave this because I think we still need to go to Yield on this, is will a PlayStation profile be required to play Ghost of Tsushima?
That's also another question. Yield, your thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, I'm not a PC gamer, so I mean, I guess it's cool. To me, it doesn't really matter one way or another.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our next topic. Matt, I'm going to kind of let you take the lead with this because I read through this and like I get what they're saying, but I don't really get it. It's coming from the PlayStation.com, a follow-up to a story earlier this year from January of 2024 where LittleBigPlanet servers were taken offline. Originally, it was supposed to be a temporary measure, but with this announcement, servers will be offline permanently. So the headline is LittleBigPlanet 3 servers are not coming back. They were taken off due to a security breach back in January. And then it lists all the other games that are losing support. So, Matt, you kind of want to walk us through this real quick?
Well, so there's not much more to add other than they thought this was going to be a temporary takedown to fix the issue. And now this is just them saying, no, we're not going to bring them back. They're done. So don't expect them to come back. I think they had a couple things in there to talk about, your game saves and your levels and where they're at and how to access them. But ostensibly, they're saying that live server support for these games are no longer a thing. I don't hear a lot of people complaining about it. I think LittleBigPlanet kind of had run its course by the time that game came out. By the time 3 came out, and there wasn't. I think there were complaints about the way 3 originally came, and now it's officially done from an online perspective. You can still play the game, you just can't go upload your levels, download other people's levels. Kind of like what Nintendo just did with Super Mario Maker from the Wii U. Was they just took it offline? It's done. You can't access it anymore. But I think ostensibly they were trying to get the servers back online, and I think they found out wasn't worth the effort.
Now, it is worth noting, any community levels that you did download on LittleBigPlanet 3, you're still going to be able to play them. You just can't get any new ones. And like Matt said, you can't upload any new ones. So.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, the servers for LittleBigPlanet 3 lasted longer than Dream servers. So, I mean, how can you complain? I mean, at some point, you got to realize that, servers are going to go down, and I'm surprised that LittleBigPlanet 3 lasted this long. But by now, I'm sorry, this may sound a little cold, but if you haven't downloaded everything you want to in that game, every level and everything, what have you been doing? Like, really? I mean, you've had plenty of time to download everything you wanted to in LittleBigPlanet 3. So, just everything you've downloaded, keep it. Don't delete the game data or all in anything, because you won't be able to get that back. But you can still play the games. You can still play the levels you've downloaded. And I can't imagine that the community support for that game is really all that great now, or was before they shut it down. People have probably moved on.
Speaking of servers, Matt, I didn't put it in the agenda. I thought I did. There was recent outcry with the crew, them taking the servers off and then decommissioning the game so you can't even buy it or play it or anything like that, revoking people's licenses. I sent you an article, I believe, where there's a community that's actually trying to get it back up, and they've been somewhat successful in the fact that they got it back up to at least the main menu, but I don't know if it's playable at this point. I did send that to you, right?
Yeah, you did, and it's exactly that. Is that people who love a game enough, the modding community is going to do what they can to try to keep the game alive, despite whatever efforts the developer or publisher are doing to take it down.
All right, moving on. Next topic is coming from Tech for Gamers, written by, oh my lord, Avinash Jazrani.
Not the first time you've had to pronounce that name, and you actually got it.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yay! Ubisoft has taken every wrong step possible with Star Wars Outlaws so far. So there's a lot of notes on this one. Ubisoft wants $130 for the Ultimate Edition for Star Wars Outlaws. What does that get you? A season pass for 2 DLCs and some in-game cosmetics. Is that worth the extra $50? On top of that, the game will require an online connection for mandatory day 1 patch. This has drawn a lot of anger from the gameplay community, but does being Star Wars license mean it will overcome all the naysayers? Now, there is another article from IGN, but let's put a pin in right there, because I think, and I'm not just saying this because it's being made by Massive or Ubisoft or it's a Star Wars game, I think the problem with the season pass is simply the fact that they're asking for $50 for 2 DLCs, and when developers or any developer does this, there's always that problem of, are the DLCs going to be worth $25 a piece, essentially?
Or are they even going to make them?
Well,
we decided not to make it. Here's a bunch of cosmetics instead. Thanks for your money.
I mean, that would piss people off. I'm not going to lie. I know.
I don't think the Star Wars. To answer a question you entered, you threw out there, towards the end. I don't think just being a Star Wars license is going to save this game. I don't think being a Star Wars license saves anything, because as we've seen, the Star Wars community is very well able and willing to complain about and basically cut the limb off.
They're very passionate
of any fucking thing they don't like when it comes to Star Wars. So they are very vocal.
Battlefront 2.
They will absolutely not support things they don't want to support. So being a Star Wars game is not just, just this bulletproof shield, this plot armor that you can rely on to save you. But above all the big publishers, it seems like people bitch about Ubisoft more than any of these days. I mean, honestly, like after all the shit they've taken for Sea of Thieves and like all the the delayed games, the canceled games we talked about last year, and just how boring their lineup is, and now this, like, I hear people bitch about Ubisoft more than I hear people bitch about EA these days. And maybe that's just me, but I feel like of all the third-party publishers, Ubisoft is the one taking the most heat at this point.
Yield, your thoughts?
We kind of hit on this I think it was last week.
Yeah, we did.
$130 for what you're getting is ridiculous, especially since you're not getting anything physical. The only difference from the gold pass at 110 to the 130 is you get 2 extra cosmetic packs. And that's the only difference. So if you were going to invest into it, get the 110, don't give them the 130. Because, it's just 2 cosmetic packs. Whoop-de-doo. I'm probably just going to get the $70 game and just wait for the DLC to go on sale. Because the Java mission is not make or break for me. And I can always wait for the season pass if they sell just a season pass to go on sale, and I can get it at that point. But it's just, I don't know. I have a hard time buying into a season pass for a new game, even if it's Star Wars. It, like I said last week, had this been a sequel, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, I liked what you did for the first game. Okay, here's my money.
Can I cut you off a second?
Go ahead.
You said, and I just want to be clear. You said a new game. Are you mean like a new IP, or just even if it's an established franchise, you're worried about buying the DLC for that game?
Okay, just because it's Star Wars, this is not a movie tie-in game, and this is not a sequel to Fallen Order. So this is a new game.
Correct.
Just because it's got Star Wars tagged on the front of it doesn't mean that it's an existing game.
So, I think Tricky's question is, if this was Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, a sequel to Fallen Order,
yeah,
would you be okay with buying a season pass before the game came out?
More than likely, yes, because I enjoyed I've played their first game, and I liked what they did. It's even more so had they released story DLC for it. Like if they released story DLC for Fallen Order and it all sucked, and then they come out with Survivor and go, hey, look, buy the season pass, we're doing story DLC, I'll be like, well, your first time around sucked. You're going to have to prove it's, we'll have to wait and see what kind of like the reviews and what people say who buy into it say it is before I buy into it. So I feel they're asking for a lot of money and they're not giving you a lot in return.
All
Here's
right.
the thing I want to caution everyone about Ubisoft before we move on, because I know Matt still needs to give his opinion. If you think that quadruple A, 4A is a title or just something they threw out there for Skull and Bones, no. That's going to come back, because we know how much games cost to make these days, and Ubisoft, I'm sure, knows how much they cost to make these days. And with the rising costs, they're probably thinking that we need to pay more for games. Like, hey, for the longest time it was AAA. And now they threw out the, quadruple A there. That's not just for Skull and Bones. That's how their philosophy is going to be going forward. And I know Assassin's Creed Mirage, that launched at a lower price, right? Was that $40?
I think it was 60.
Okay, I thought it was a lower price, but I'm just saying, Ubisoft is going to look to get money out of you any way they can, whether it be raising the MSRP or something like this. Matt, sir, what are your thoughts?
Listen, I know a lot of people were excited for this game when it was first announced, getting a non-Skywalker based Star Wars story that featured, a scoundrel, which was really, exciting, something that they really haven't focused on before. And all the goodwill that was put out there by making great Star Wars games in the Jedi series. And then they had to have known that they were going to get some backlash on the price as well as this DLC stuff, and now they're starting to get it even more with the Java DLC, and they had to backpedal a little bit, which you'll talk about on the next point. it's becoming unsustainable to launch these games at these prices. And I remember going back to like Borderlands 2 and hearing about the massively expensive what was that, the Vault Hunter edition, which came with the actual little vault or loot chest, and then take it to Resident Evil 8, the was it 8 or 4 the 4 remake, whatever the one was that you can get like the jacket with, and it was like hundreds of dollars. They're getting to this point that it's ridiculous. I remember back in Dead Space 2, I bought the collector's edition because it came with a plasma cutter, and it turned out to be like this little 6 or 7 inch dinky light that was so stupid. I was like, wow, I wasted my money on this. And I spent money on the Duke Nukem Forever collector's edition, so I know about wasting money. But
hey, I enjoyed Duke Nukem Forever.
I enjoyed Duke Nukem Forever too. But I will say this: the collector's edition that came with the Duke bust, with the cards and the chips and all that stuff, that was cool. I understood it was a bunch of tchotchke stuff. But this stuff that you're paying for now in these collector's edition isn't even tangible. It's all in-game stuff, building the DLC price into it. But then this is where they get you. They go, you could do all that, or you could start giving us $15 a month for our Ubisoft Plus service, and that'll get you access to all the same stuff. But it's such a big game, you're probably gonna have to do a couple months of it. So it's a gamble on whether you're gonna actually enjoy the games or not. And Ubisoft seems to be killing off some goodwill with these choices, but still not the most egregious example of nitpicking in gaming. I mean, they're not Unity.
All right, Saber had a question in the chat, which I don't know the answer to. I have to go over here now. It says, how many shares does EA still own of Ubisoft, or has EA sold off all their shares? I didn't know EA sold anything.
Yeah, it according to the top article on the wiki, they had acquired 19.9% stake in Ubisoft in 2004. EA sold a remaining 14.8% stake in 2010. I don't think there's any other update on that, but they bought some and then sold off a bunch.
Okay, and then Saber says the regular price for Assassin's Creed Mirage was $50. For all the bells and whistles, it was $60, and for the Ultimate Edition, it was $80. So that's not bad.
No, I just think that Ubisoft. I think originally they were one of the publishers that talked about raising MSRPs to $70. So I really don't think that they're going to shy away from charging us more when they think they can. Especially on a Star Wars license. Again, I will say it. Star Wars fans will not put up with bullshit. They are not going to just sit there and just, eat anything Star Wars that comes their way. They will bitch about it, and they will fight back, and they will push back. We know that about Star Wars fans. But maybe Ubisoft feels that with this game, they can test the waters a little bit and push the boundaries. And yeah, people may give them some pushback at first, but maybe because there was so much excitement around this game that they feel like, well, if we're, we can get away with it this game, and if not, we can always change it. Who knows? But
and then
once you start selling, making money off people and selling these DLCs early, I mean, you can't change anything, because then the people who already bought them are like, well, what the fuck, man? You're changing this shit now. So I guess they're locked in and invested with this game strategy for Outlaws, but they probably just thought they could get away with it, or like they could cool the backlash enough to where it would be fine.
Saber also says in the chat, never forget soundtracks and art books are now digital, so you can't even listen to them in your car or take them over to your friend's house to have them check it out, and they're eating up 5 or 6 gigs.
Well, here's the thing with those: are any of them DRM free? Can you move? Can you move them around? I guess not, since they're in the game and you don't have like a disc or any kind of thing to. Yeah.
That depends on delivery, because on Steam it's actually its own little subsection that you get on soundtracks, and I really haven't gone into the diving of.
I was gonna say, if there's like a separate folder where you could like move them around your PC and then upload them to like a device that you have.
I haven't tried yet, but I would think it would be possible to take the soundtrack and like stick a USB drive into your PlayStation and be able to transfer them that way. I haven't tried it, and I could be 100% wrong, but Saber says not on PlayStation. So, all right. The next part of this article, Ubisoft has responded to the Star Wars Outlaws Season Pass backlash, insists the Jabba the Hutt is part of the experience for players. Matt, I need you to fact check me because I could be wrong with what I'm about to say after I read all your notes. This is coming from IGN, written by Wesley Yinpool. Ubisoft has insisted that the first DLC for Star Wars Outlaws features a storyline around Jabba the Hutt is essential for all players. However, the mission surrounding the Hutt is locked behind DLC Season Pass. Before I keep going and let Matt fact check, there is a unique mission that's only accessible under a condition. I don't know if it's a pre-order or it's the Season Pass. That's what I need you to fact check for me.
I think it's the season pass. That was the backlash, and I think this quote kind of helps clarify a little bit of it. But it's actually kind of confusing what is being said versus what is actually going to be available.
Okay, and the quote that Matt just referenced is, to clarify, Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt Cartel are one of the main syndicates in Star Wars Outlaws, and will be part of the experience for everyone who purchases the game, regardless of an edition. End quote. That's what an Ubisoft spokesman said to IGN. New quote. The Jabba's Gambit mission is an optional additional mission with the Hutt Cartel along Kay and Nix's journey across the Outer Rim. This mission will be available to those who purchase the Season Pass or an edition of the game, which includes the Season Pass. So the Jabba's Gambit is the exclusive mission that you can only get if you buy the Season Pass.
And that quote gives us a little more enlightenment into saying it sounds like there will be a season pass available separate from the game. That if you do like the game, you can then go back and buy the season pass. I don't know if there's going to be a price premium you're paying on buying the DLC separate or the season pass separate compared to buying one of the other editions of the games.
Now, it is also worth noting, and I know I'm going to come off as a corporate apologist for this, but it is worth noting that the Ubisoft season passes, Ubisoft games in general, they tend to have a lot of sales on them. So even if it is $50, there is going to be a sale, especially around this time, around Black Friday, stuff like that, where you're probably going to be able to buy the season pass a lot cheaper. I've learned, because I buy a lot of Ubisoft games, is that I'll buy the base game, or I'll just wait a month or two, and a sale will come out, and it'll be half price or whatever the case may be. That happens a lot with Ubisoft. So, that being said. All right, so Yield, I'm going to go to you first. We kind of touched on the DLCs. We got your opinions on that. What is your opinion on this optional mission being locked behind the Season Pass that you can only play if you buy the Season Pass?
I mean, it's happened before. I mean, I know Sniper Elite has always hidden the Hitler mission behind either pre-order bonus or DLC. So it doesn't surprise me. It's just a little a little something you get for getting extra for getting the season pass. Like I said, to me, it's no big deal.
All right, Alex.
Sorry, could you repeat the... Ashley sent me something I was reading that. Could you repeat the question for me?
How do you feel about this one optional mission being locked behind the season pass that if you don't buy the season pass, you can't play?
I mean, if you're charging me $25 for one mission, then you fucked up. I mean, look...
I got to smile at it bad.
I don't think that they charged as much for Iki Island, the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima, and that was, 12 or so hours of something gameplay or something. I can't remember how much it was, but it was a good chunk of gameplay. And you're telling me one mission in this game is going to cost me... Now, we don't know how long it's going to last, but one mission typically isn't going to last you 10 hours. So if you're saying, hey, essentially you got to buy 2 DLCs for $50, and, one of these missions potentially is, just one thing, that's too much. I'm not paying for that.
It was $30 for Iki Island, for the 5, and $20 for the 4. But it was included free with the Director's Cut upgrade, which was the $10.
But still, $20, that's still cheaper than what they're giving us for Outlaws. And, depending on how big this mission is, I don't know. Like I said, if they're locking one mission behind having to spend $50 extra, then like I said, they have severely messed up and overestimated how much people will pay for Star Wars, because that's crap. If you're going to charge that much for a season pass, you better make sure the content that comes in it, beyond just the cosmetics, is a worthwhile investment. And one mission, there's never any one mission that I've ever played in the game that would be worth that much money.
Matt?
Alex hit the point before I ever got to it, is what else is in the DLC. I have no problem with them putting a mission behind the DLC wall, because that's the entire purpose of DLC. It's to sell more missions for money. Now, the question is, what else is involved in the DLC? No clue. So it is what it is. It's what DLC is these days. I have no arguments or complaints against it.
All right, so let's have a quick, conversation about DLC. Like, would you guys argue to say that if they're going to sell DLC, that they should be more transparent about what all the DLC is? Like, should Ubisoft come out and say, okay, you're going to get 2 DLCs, but they're going to be a 10 to 15 hour adventure? Like, would that make you feel more comfortable in buying the DLC?
Well, here's the thing. People don't even know if they're going to like the game yet. I mean, yeah, you can be excited about it, but they may get the game and it might just, suck pond water. So, like, by the time DLCs come out, you're like, you may not even want to play them because you don't like the game. So giving people a chance to get in and play the game first and make sure they like the mechanics and everything and enjoy the story, can get in there and get invested, that's important. And then, usually if people can buy, this isn't the first time DLC has been sold underneath the season pass, but I generally like to buy DLC piece by piece because I get to go in, play the DLC, and see what it's like, and then, okay, this is the map they're on, this is the trajectory they're on, this is kind of their plan for the game, and I can say that I like this, so I'm probably going to like what they're going to do next. But this is just like jump in whole hog without even getting to play the game first. That's kind of crazy.
Saber in the chat kind of goes along with your point. He says DLC needs to return to its original route, where you don't hear about it until the game's been out for over 6 months.
Look, if I will spend $5 extra on a piece of DLC. If it's like, hey, buy the season pass, or the pass for the DLC, it'll save you $5 or $10 over the course of buying out the DLC. I would rather just buy individual DLC to make sure that I like it, and then I'll pay $5 extra for that next DLC.
All right.
But I don't want to spend $30-$40 for a season pass and then not like the DLC, and then I've fucked myself because I didn't like the first package, and then the next pack of DLC I'm probably not going to like either.
Yield, your thoughts?
Like I said, I'll just wait until the season pass goes on sale. By that time, you'll hear enough from people to determine on whether or not the story stuff was good and it's worth buying.
But the question is, would you rather, like, Ubisoft be more transparent about what the DLC is rather than saying we're going to give you 2 DLCs?
Just because you come out and say it's a 10-hour or whatever DLC pack doesn't mean that it's going to be good.
Correct. Correct.
I bought the DLC season pass for Phoenix Rising, Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Right.
Each one got worse, in my opinion, than the previous one. And I'm glad I got it for a deal. Otherwise, I'd have felt like I wasted my money. But I was trying to, I wanted to get 100% of the game. So I just go back. Instead of planning you're already going to do DLC, there's nothing wrong with having those plans. But wait and see how your game's going to do before you're already investing money into it to make DLC.
All right, Saber says something in the chat, but it's kind of censored, so I'm going to try to piece together what it says. He says, plus there's no mention of DLC coming to said, and then centered. It won't get people's interest in the game if they played maybe 3 months, if 6, if is 2, considering people's attention spans in today's modern gaming. Then he also said they should go by what fans are requesting or fans want in a chat group or whatever, and then based off that, they should make the deal to see what they assume fans want. I mean, that was kind of all over the place, but I kind of get what he was saying. Matt, your thoughts? Should developers be more transparent about the DLC they're selling in their season pass?
I don't think it requires transparency. I just think it requires some fair amount of forethought that gamers can look at a company and said, oh, I see what they're trying to do. And I'll give you an example. FromSoft comes out with Elden Ring. Smashing success. Couple months, over a year, I think it was over a year down the line, they go, hey, we're developing DLC. And everybody goes, oh, okay, cool. I want to get that. But the DLC is not going to be done for another year and a half. So you're looking at DLC for a game that is going to be, when did that come out?
Came out the same month as Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, so 2022.
Yeah, didn't they originally say they weren't doing DLC for the game?
I don't recall what they said.
Oh, okay.
I just know that when you turn around and look at somebody like FromSoft, they go, game was successful, we're going to make DLC for it now. Meaning that they're starting on it after the game has launched. You look at Star Wars Outlaws now, and they go, hey, you could buy the big super deluxe edition, and it's going to have DLC. That tells people two things. One, they started on the DLC at the same time that they were working on developing the game or close to the end of developing the game. So technically, with the game being in polish mode, the company's going, all right, we need to keep all these people busy doing stuff, and that means we're going to work on DLC. So part of the plan is once it's shipped off to bug squashing, the designers, the game players, the artists are all going to work on this DLC, because it makes sense from a corporate standpoint is that they're going to keep their people busy, but that means that they're locked into this game from start to just near finish, as opposed to maybe working on something else. And it's just the DLC for companies like Ubisoft are just ways to keep people engaged and to keep you spending money on their game or sell these collector's editions. Whereas you look at FromSoft and they go, you like the game? We're going to develop more of that game. And people will go, I'm going to buy Shadow of the Erdtree because this game, the base game, was so awesome. I'm going to buy the DLC because I know it's going to be high quality. To Yield's point earlier, and I'm sure Alex said it as well, the game's good. Okay, I'll support it with DLC. Take it back to Borderlands and Borderlands 2. If you bought the season pass, you were getting a discount on buying each of those individual DLCs separately. So if you paid $30, you got the 4 Borderlands DLCs. If you just bought them $10 each, it was going to cost you more. And that was just their way of incentivizing you to buy early because you got a little bit of a discount. And the problem is with game companies now is they're developing the DLC with the base price built in, thinking, okay, well, we'll just add it to like some collector's edition and they'll eat that up. And unfortunately, that's inflating the cost.
Alrighty, let's move on because we have just in the interest of time. But Saber said, "Thank you, Matt, for understanding." I guess I didn't explain it properly, and you did. So, all right, moving on to our next topic. Sony is reportedly in talks to join a bid to buy Paramount. This is coming from IGN and written by Alex Stedman. Sony is reportedly in talks to join a joint bid with an investment firm, Apollo Global Management, to acquire Paramount. If the bid were to go through, Sony would likely absorb Paramount's operations and brand as a label of its own media empire, and Paramount does include networks like Nickelodeon, Showtime, MTV, Comedy Central, and CBS. It's also worth noting that they would be in charge of the Halo series. Just for the record.
The Halo TV series, not the video game series.
Yeah, the TV series. Is Halo that bad, Matt?
I didn't watch season 2, but everybody that I've heard report on it or did watch it indicated that even though it had a pretty good start, it fell off real quick. I shared a meme. It's the drawn horse meme, and it has like The Last of Us and Fallout and Cyberpunk and League of Legends and all of those have the horse drawn perfectly. And Halo, it's just like the mash of whatever it's supposed to be for a horse. It's mismanaged. It's not the story that people want, and it's pretty bad. So maybe Sony buying it will fix it.
I did think about watching it, but I've never been like a Halo thing.
No. Well, so I'll say this: if you've never been a Halo fan, maybe you'll get something good out of the show.
Well, can't get anything good out of the games. What up, Alex?
Whatever.
I enjoyed Infinite.
Whatever. Halo through Halo 3 were some of the best stories. So you hush.
Halo Infinite was awesome, especially when playing with a friend. It just their delivery method of the multiplayer followed by a year and a half delay to get the single player out was a mismanagement of spectacle proportions. But the single player was very solid.
I'm not saying this because like to be anti-Halo, but I've heard from multiple. Well, no, I am anti-Halo, but I'm not saying this for that reason. I heard the top-down Halo was actually the best Halo game ever made. Was that ODST or something like that?
Is that Halo Wars?
No.
Halo Wars, yeah, the RTS.
Was it? No, I thought it was like Halo ODST or something like that.
No, Halo 3 ODST it came out before Halo 3, and you were orbital drop shock troopers. And you were not playing as Master Chief, you played a whole bunch of missions. And
right.
I can tell you, actually, it's kind of boring.
Okay. I that's the one thing. I talked to Daryl. Daryl's like, the last couple games just destroyed it. Like, he wants it 343 to get away from it.
But 4 and 5 were meh. Infinite was on the right path. They just had to have released it all at the same time and supported the multiplayer without their shitty microtransactions.
Is Infinite?
Y'all are talking about all this Halo, and what I really want Sony to do if they buy Paramount is to squash this stupid G.I. Joe Transformer shit they're planning on doing.
Clear the floor. Matt just made a face. Matt.
No. I do not want humans in my Transformers. The fewer humans, the better. Get the fucking G.I. Joe shit out of here.
Okay.
Did you see
finally
the Transformers 1 trailer?
Finally, somebody said something that triggered Matt that wasn't me.
Yeah,
I have not watched.
I've seen the trailer.
I did start to watch it, but
I'm not interested in it.
We asked for a Transformers movie without humans, and then we immediately saw the trailer and said, "No, not like that."
Well, that's because they didn't have the Beast Wars in it, Matt. There was no Maximals in there.
It's a cartoon.
Look. Here's the thing. I like the Decepticons and the Autobots, but let's be real. At this point, movies with Optimus Prime and Bumblebee are kind of fucking boring. So the Maximals coming in did a lot for that movie. I want to see more of the Beast Wars, okay?
Including the guy who wore his Autobot as a power suit and was able to hold Optimus from being sucked into the void.
Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Here we go.
If they're going to do that, at least it could be somebody like Roadblock, who you're like, okay, the guy's strong. He can actually do that.
Okay, well, first of all, Optimus Primal is the one who saved him there, Matt. Yeah, you know what? You're helping my point.
No. Because, yes, Optimus Primal came in after whatever his name, I don't even remember the human character's name, Noah, was holding Optimus in his what was the Autobot's name that died and like came back as his power suit?
Mirage,
thank you. Which, again, should have been fucking not Mirage, because Mirage was not a Porsche. Should have been Jazz. And he's holding Optimus in place, wearing this power suit. Yes, a human in an Autobot exosuit is holding Optimus from being sucked into Unicron's black hole. Okay. Right. At least if it's a G.I. Joe, I'm like, all right, G.I. Joe could be strong enough to do that.
A G.I. Joe, a normal fucking person, Sergeant Slaughter getting out there, you think he can hold Optimus Prime from being sucked into Unicron?
The Rocket.
Sergeant Slaughter doing that.
Get the fuck out of here. He couldn't even beat Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 7.
The Rock could do it.
No, so you made my point for me, Matt. Less humans in Transformers is better. Because you just said that doing that should be replaced with...
Except for with his G.I. Joe.
Oh, come on now.
Look at this
Don't
shit.
give me that.
Look at this shit. You're telling me...
Yes, you're right. Look at that shit.
Something with Baroness and Storm Shadow with Soundwave doesn't look fucking awesome.
Well, I can't really see it because of the glare off your monitors.
Oh, I see it. It's amazing.
Can we?
Matt, I guarantee whatever Paramount shits out is not going to be as awesome as that. Okay.
You get no argument from me on that one.
All right,
So-
let's get back on topic here.
So let's be real.
A non-video game topic was our best topic.
Sony buying Paramount through this investment firm. I don't know how that would work out with this investment firm, but you would figure that Sony's goal is to roll Paramount and all their stuff into Sony Pictures to make Sony Pictures stronger. And as someone who owns PlayStation Plus, I would really like Paramount Plus to be rolled into that. That would be great.
that would make me happy as well.
All the old Nickelodeon shows, you get Transformers movies, you get Good Burger if that's your thing. Beavis and Butthead, you can watch Beavis and Butthead. But yeah, that'd be great. So please, let's do that. Let's let that happen.
So I want to go off topic for a second. You guys are familiar with SpongeBob SquarePants, right?
Who?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I know
What?
the name. I don't watch the cartoon.
Okay.
You
Then
mean the Patrick Show?
the Patrick Show. You know what? I'm moving on. All right. Last topic before our questions. GTA 6 publisher Take-Two to lay off 5% of its workforce and cancel games. This is coming from Insider Gaming Network and written by Tom Henderson. With about 5% of Take-Two being eliminated this week, Take-Two is looking to save around $165 million a year. Though the company would be in about 160 to 200 million in charges in connection with the plan. Much of this is attributed to the cancellation of some games. Some changes are expected to be completed by the end of this year. Yield, I'm going to let you go first because we kind of had like we had a discussion in our chat. I don't know if it was text or Facebook or what it was, but you were questioning what does Take-Two actually make.
Yeah, I did, and we talked about it, and we moved on.
Oh, thanks for the. Okay.
So what exactly are you wanting to know?
Well, I mean, it's there's not much to really say about this other than the layoffs are coming, but they also canceled a whole bunch of projects, which is what you can.
Until you tell me what projects were canceled, and you want to save 165 million, don't spend billions of dollars on Grand Theft Auto 6.
I don't know if there's any game that's justified spending that much money on. It's probably Grand Theft Auto because they're going to make that back easy.
Well, yeah, they'll make that back easy. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't realize Take-Two made as much or published as much as they do, but
I'm getting yelled at in our text chat right now because I missed the message.
That's because you asked what topics to skip, and skip this one, and Tricky rolls right into it. That's why I'm like, yeah.
All right. Live Twitch stream. We're skipping this. Audio.
Are you cutting this? Are you cutting this from the show?
I'm cutting this from the show entirely.
Then make sure you got a good transition to make yourself easier on you for the edit, so you can just cut this part out.
Let's go to our listener questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
How was that transition, Alex?
About as generic as it can be, but I guess it'll work.
All right, so there are two threads. I posted one and V posted one. We're going to go to mine first. Will wants to know, are you guys over Helldivers 2 and on to the next flavor of the new flavor of the week? And he says the Fallout bandwagon is right with 4 getting the PS5 upgrade treatment. Y'all going to get on that. And then,
well, first of all, they need to put, if there's any agreement in that series, they need to upgrade 3. And Three's the one they need to get on newer consoles.
And then Nitro said, ew, Fallout propaganda.
No, we're not over Helldivers because they keep releasing new content, and it's a game we're still all regularly playing. So probably I'd say 2 or 3 times a week I'm playing with Yield in our group. So Yield and I were playing right before getting on here. So
and I'm never getting invites.
Like I said, fun gameplay. You're constantly releasing new content, and you've got each person has their own community to play with. No, it's not falling off.
Yield, I know your answer too, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, not as diehard as I was when it first came out. I get my daily to get my more medals so I can finish buying everything. But yeah, I'm still playing. It's a fun game to play with your friends, and they're still, the war's constantly changing. They are not only releasing new war bonds, but they are releasing new ship modules, and there's rumors of some more stratagems coming out. So
Matt,
they're keeping the game fresh.
Matt, are you still playing Helldivers?
Give up Helldivers? That sounds like treason to me.
Yeah. Now,
Look where it's coming from.
I will say the one thing that they can do to kill off a lot of interest is not ever like push this war out for years. Like if we don't beat these bugs and these automatons and whoever, for years now, as this war wages on, people are going to lose interest. So constantly bringing the bots back after we beat them, bringing the bugs back, they got to avoid that shit. They got to figure out a way to make the game, keep the game interesting. But if you're going to keep us interested or try to keep us interested by having to fight the same factions, stratagems are nice. Getting new weapons is nice. But if we're going to constantly fight the new factions, we're not going to feel like we're making any progress. And that's one way that you can kill interest in a game, is have people feel like their time is not making any progress.
All right, so the new major order is succeed in the defense of at least 10 planets.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
The community doesn't want to do that mission, I guarantee. Because last time we had like 3 days to defend 5 planets and we got to 2. This one's 10. We've only got 1 now. Yeah, I guarantee the community's like, no, we don't want to fucking do that. Whatever.
All right. And then you guys gonna jump on the Fallout wagon?
Wake in what way? I'm already watching the TV show. Do you mean like play Fallout 4 or?
Yeah, play 4 or 76.
I don't know. I've always thought about playing it, but the one Fallout I tried to play, can't remember which one it was. It took me 2 hours to get to the tutorial. I was told I was just right at the end of the tutorial, but it was like 2 or 3 hours, and I was still in the tutorial, and I got to what was it? The town with the giant bomb in it.
That's Fallout 3. You're okay. In Megaton.
So I was in Megaton, and then I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm done, and moved on.
That sounds like me trying to play Persona 4 on the Vita. It's like 2 hours of nothing but cutscenes, and I didn't even play one bit of the game.
Now, see, you should be used to that playing a Hideo Kojima game.
No. Hideo Kojima, I sit back and watch a movie. This is, I constantly press a button reading text because they didn't even voice
You know what I don't really want to do when I spend $60 to play a video game?
Retext?
It's watch a movie. It's not really what I want to do.
Matt, you did mention you're getting on the Fallout bandwagon.
Yep.
So, all right. Next question from Jeremy. What are your hobbies other than gaming?
Shit, do I have enough time to have any other hobbies? I don't do it as much anymore, but I have a nice digital camera that my dad got me for Christmas one year, and I would just go downtown, like downtown Louisville, and just take pictures down by the waterfront, or like walk through the city and just take pictures. And like we've got a nice park by us, and everyone carries a phone now with them, so you've got a camera at the ready almost any time. So I don't really take my digital camera around, but there was at one point where I just would drive somewhere in the city and just start taking pictures for an afternoon, walking around. It was a good, like when it was a nice day out, it was a nice way to spend my time. But I haven't done that really recently. But I mean, photography is one thing, and just like going out to the park and walking around, taking my dog for a walk. I don't know if you consider that a hobby, but yeah, just like going out in my own city, exploring and taking pictures was something I really enjoyed.
Yield?
Pretty much all I do is play video games. Used to do softball and just go and hang out outside and enjoy the weather. But yeah, my hobby is video games.
That's because you're tall, Yield, and you can run to the bases really fast.
Yeah, that helps.
And I'm going to ask Matt, but if you kind of look behind Matt on his walls, you can see his hobbies.
I like that hobby.
But is that one of those, Matt, is that one of those paper, like those cardboard puzzle things? Like, it's not a Lego, it's a...
No,
the 3D
Lego.
puzzles?
Okay. Yeah,
No,
3D puzzles. Yeah.
So
Because I've got friends who have gotten some of the 3D puzzles, like the Star Destroyer, and it was like $20, and they really enjoy that, because obviously you're not spending as much as you would on a Lego set.
So I kind of stole your thunder there, Matt, but Legos are your hobby?
Yeah.
No, his hobby is Soundwave, Michael.
I don't know if that's...
Government names!
What do you mean? How many Soundwave figures do you have? I hope you got a half an hour, folks, to listen.
Actually, you're conservative on your time estimate, sir. Actually, one of these days, I think from a home insurance perspective, is I need to catalog and inventory all these guys
Yeah, you probably should.
Because them being stolen or damaged in a house fire, I'd be kind of devastated.
Matt, I know you saw it, but what do you think of that Lego table I showed you? That I sent on Facebook.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and maybe something I can get for my next house.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, you also thought it was Chinese propaganda.
Well, because it's a TikTok video.
Oh my lord!
Buy these Legos. They buy these Legos. They specifically benefit the Chinese government.
No, it was the table. But I will share Yield's opinion on it. It's like you show us a video like that, but then you don't tell us where to buy it.
Yeah,
that always annoys me.
He shows this really cool video. It's a table, and you take the tape, and you take the top of the table can come off, and underneath it is a compartment where you could, like, if you were building a Lego, you could just leave it there, and you put your table back on top of it. You don't know it's there, and you've got little stuff that you can kind of snap in. It's different Lego bins as you're building it that you could separate your stuff, and like a cup holder or something. Anyway, but it's kind of a really cool table for building Legos. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. How much is it? And we get done with the video, and he's done. I'm like, where did you buy it? Who made it? How much did you spend on it? I'm like, this is why I hate TikTok, because there's no info.
They do that on Facebook videos, and they do that on YouTube videos as well.
Still, okay, I hate those videos. There's no info.
I share with you. All right. Last question on my thread. Gareth wants to know, what is the worst physical injury you've suffered, and how did it happen? We'll go with Yield first.
Go ahead, Alex.
I consider myself lucky, which after answering this question, I'm probably going to bring myself a whole lot of bad luck. The worst one I've ever gotten is a sprained ankle, and I got it from playing basketball and just coming down. I thought I broke my ankle when I came down.
Oh, yeah, been there.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just a sprain where my ankle swelled up real big. But, yeah.
So I sprained my left ankle playing basketball. Just kind of like Alex, came down on somebody else's foot. I got 5 stitches in the top of my head and busted an artery. I've twisted my right ankle, trying to beat a throw to first base in softball, and everybody thought I broke my ankle, but somehow I didn't, and ended up with 9 stitches in that. Broke the tip of my nose, and had a sheet of drywall dropped on my foot walking up a set of stairs.
Pivot.
So, yeah. Oh, and I bounced my head off the side of my truck when I wrapped it around a pole. So, yeah.
All right, Matt.
I'm debating between 2, and I think probably the time I got a concussion, and it was freshman year in high school. We had the freshman cup games, and it was a relay race. And what I had to do was, it was being done in the gym, and part of the race was you had to jump over a giant gym mat, like one of the ones that like a pole vaulter lands on. But then on the other side of it was a hurdle that you had to go under. And I was pretty fast for my time until I went to, like, I guess, slide under it as opposed to drop down and crawl. And my hand slipped and my head just bounced right off the gym floor. I didn't get knocked out, but dear God, it was.
You were loopy?
Yeah, no, my friend teacher at the time immediately ran over. Matt, say something. I was like, ow.
It's just.
At least I had my sense of humor.
Well, my worst physical injury, I'm not going to share because it brings back a lot of bad trauma memories. But I will share a story that.
Does it involve a spicy chicken nugget?
No, it involves me being jumped and having 28 broken bones. Yeah. But the story I will tell you is when I was playing hockey, I played both roller hockey and ice hockey. But I was playing roller hockey with a bunch of friends of mine in a pickup game. And on the other team was one of my friends who, because I played goalie, one of my friends who I knew had a wicked shot, and we always like shit talked to each other about like I'd make a glove save on him and I'd talk shit to him, or he'd score a goal on me, blah blah blah. And I was in goal one day. He was coming down my left side, and he took a shot. And I don't know if you guys ever played roller hockey, but those balls have the ability to curve, kind of like a curveball or a slider in baseball.
Yeah, because you use a round ball.
Right. He took this shot and shot it with such velocity that it was going towards my glove. So I was going to make a glove save. And at the last second, it curved and hit me right in the cup.
It's a good thing you're wearing a cup.
You say that, but after I made the save, the ball, there was a rebound that went off to my right side. And as I moved from my left to my right, I was fine, but once I brought my legs back together, I come to find out that the shot actually cracked the cup, and when it came back together, pinched my nutsack.
Nice.
I don't mean to laugh, but
You're done.
No, I mean it's good. No, Gil's right. It's good you're wearing a cup because it probably would have exploded your nuts.
Yeah.
If it cracked the cup.
Yeah, and then we had a good laugh about that after I stopped having pain, but
No, I'm sure everyone else had a good laugh about it when you.
you
stopped.
my girlfriend at the time was on the opposite side, so behind the other goal, and she heard me yell. She came running. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't want to tell you." Because, when you're 15, 16 years old, you don't want to tell the girl you're dating that you have an injury down there. But yeah, I was in pain for a good 20 minutes. I was done playing for the day, by the way. I did not.
I would kind of think, you'd be done for the day.
I wasn't going back in goal without a cup. And
You gotta take out Goldberg and put in Julie the Cat Gaffney.
All right, so other post. This is V's post. I'm going to try to go through this. 3 questions, all from Saber. This one, I guess, is directed towards Matt, because Matt was tagged in, but I guess this is for everybody. As you guys answer, so I'm going to run and get something to drink. He says, if you could own a modern car or a classic car of any time period, which would you own based off looks? Matt, go first. And I already know my answer, and I posted it in the Facebook group before, but Matt, go ahead, and I'll come back.
Easy. It's always been the 1970s version of the Corvette Stingray. That was actually the classic car I've always wanted before I ever got my Ford Mustang. And it's just something about the wheel wells, the curves over the front wheels, and the colors available in that car would just, oh man, if I could still get one, whatever my next house is, if it has more than one garage, I would love to be able to get one of those. Alex, how about you?
I hate to say it, but this is not my question because I'm not a car guy. So, yeah, I'm perfectly happy driving Toyotas. There's no car, honestly, that I've ever been like, man, I really want that car. Like, if I won the lottery or something like that, and I had just endless amounts of money to spend, or, just had a ton of money to burn, honestly, I wouldn't go buy a super fancy car. So, me personally, there's no car that I can think of that I'm like I can see it like a historic car and be like, oh man, that's really cool, that's awesome. But I've never been like, oh man, that Lamborghini, that Porsche, like I would love to have that. I just So I don't really have a car that I care enough about to answer this question.
All right, Yield.
So there's always the late 60s Shelby Mustang. I also like some of the Mach 1 Mustangs. So somewhere in that range would be me.
My answer, I'm a Chevy guy through and through, but growing up, I've always
But you're a Ford guy.
Hell no.
No, he's a Chevy.
Don't you love Fords?
Real men wear bow ties, Alex. So growing up, I've always really liked the look of the 64.5 Mustang, which is a Ford car. But after watching Gone in 60 Seconds, I absolutely fell in love with Eleanor. I would, if I was a millionaire, I would buy that car in a heartbeat. That is a sexy ass fucking car. which is surprising because I'd actually buy a Ford, but that's the only Ford I would ever buy.
See, I was right. You do like Fords.
One Ford.
Fucked over, rebuilt Dodge.
Fixed or repaired daily. Found on road dead. Yeah, let's move on. Because I was about to say something I should have not allowed to say on the podcast. Saber's next question. If Star Wars is dead, then what franchise is still alive? We'll go with Matt first.
I don't think Star Wars is dead.
I
Far
don't-
from it. It's more alive than ever.
I don't think it's dead either.
The question being is, some people don't like the direction it's taking.
All right, so what franchise is still alive, in your opinion? Transformers?
Why don't you steal my answer, you son of a bitch?
I was going to say Planet of the Apes. They just came out with a new movie.
Jeez, how do we get people to care about G.I. Joe again? Well, put it with the Transformers. People love Transformers.
Oh, let's not go down that path again, Alex.
G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe Retaliation was actually a good fucking G.I. Joe movie.
Oh, yeah?
That's the one with the Rock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't they come out with a Snake Eyes movie?
What?
Didn't they come out with a Snake Eyes movie?
We don't talk about that one.
Okay.
Oh, now we don't talk about G.I. Joe.
Dude, Snake Eyes reveals his face and talks? What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Someone get Sony on the phone.
Go buy Paramount to fix this shit. I don't know. Lord of the Rings?
I got a good answer. I got the best answer, motherfucker.
All right, well, now we're going to make you go last. Hopefully, Yield steals this answer. Yield?
Yield, say Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Sir, this
spicy-
is Wendy's.
The return of the spicy chicken nugget.
You guys are just mean, man. You're not going to let that
Like
die,
spicy
are you?
chicken Nuggets, Tricky.
You're not going to
Spicy
let...
chicken nugget strikes back.
You guys are just not going to let it die that I almost died from a nugget.
You didn't die. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But afraid of spicy chicken nuggets.
All right, Kelly Clarkson.
See, you could say
Good song.
you could make an argument for Ghostbusters, but I just think it's another generation, you know. So I really don't think that there is a movie franchise that's still going on. I mean, Star Wars was dead until Lucas sold it to Disney, and Disney had to get their money back. MCU is going downhill. DC is all over the place.
Do you think
So-
Lucas would have eventually made 7, 8, 9?
I don't think so.
Wasn't that always rumored to be his plan?
No, he originally was never going to release 1, 2, and 3, and then he
But
got
he
pressured.
always had a plan, or at least an idea of 1 through 9. Right?
Yeah, he did.
Originally, before 5 and 6 came out, and then he was done, and then he got pressured to make 1, 2, and 3, but he said he was never going to make 7, 8, 9. I personally think he would have went back on it and actually made it if he never sold it.
He's had
Maybe
plenty of time to make it. It's not like he's doing anything else. I mean, he doesn't need the money, but it's not like he's doing anything else.
Maybe he's just done. I'm sorry, Yield, we cut you off.
No, you're fine. I don't really think there is a movie franchise that's still going on. Fast and Furious has long outlived itself and has gone far away from what it originally was.
It's all about family.
No, it's not. To hell with it. It so annoys me how we've turned that into, it's all about family. The movie was never about family. You were stealing stuff and you drove fast cars. Now all of a sudden you're like, we're all about family.
But they
steal
did
stuff.
it as a family Yield.
Oh, they weren't a family.
Don't trigger Yield.
It's just at least be better with how you continue with 10 films. It's just, don't treat me like I'm an idiot.
All right, Alex, your answer?
Teenage
You already
Mutant Turtles.
stole it.
Teenage
Oh.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You think that franchise is still alive?
It's as strong as it ever has been.
Did you see Mutant Mayhem?
No. Dude, look at the toy sales. Look at all the fucking what they charge for toys now. The video games. They just announced, 2 Switch games? At least one I know of. Shredder's Revenge, best beat 'em up ever made, best Turtles beat 'em up. Like, yes, I fully believe that as a franchise, Teenage Turtles are alive and well. They just released a He-Man Turtles crossover.
I can't go with you, but I will say that the last Ronin series is bringing some back. And Rapato just stole my answer. I was going to say Godzilla.
I thought about saying that, but still, when has there been a... I mean, I guess the franchise is still going on, but when has there been a good Godzilla movie?
Like, haven't, like, the last...
Whoa. I'm backing away. I'm backing away.
Fucking trying to piss me off tonight?
Who? Did I piss you off with Ninja Turtles?
No, Yield.
No. The G.I. Joe Transformers thing. You kind of set them off.
Oh,
Alex hit me off on that one. Yield's called throwing the flag on the Godzilla movies that have been out recently.
Honestly, I have yet to see this trailer. Maybe not be too bad, but I have yet to see a Godzilla trailer that has been like, I want to go watch that.
Wow. They just put Godzilla characters in Giga Bash in the last 6 months. So
you both triggered him on the show. I triggered him before the show. We're just hitting the trifecta with Matt tonight.
Right, time to end this show.
So one last question from Saber. Do you think game developers don't understand gamers, or do you think that they don't care about the games and are just doing it for the paycheck, and that they don't even play the games in their spare time?
Ooh, can I?
You lead us off.
So I think they understand gamers. They just don't understand. And I'm going to say this incorrectly. They don't understand the older generation of gamers. This younger generation of the gamers is why they are the way they are, in my opinion. That's why they feed into it, because, I don't know, not disposable incomes, but they buy everything and anything and then complain about it later when they've already opened Pandora's box. So I've said it before. I feel the industry has I've outgrown the industry because I don't like what we're doing and what it's where they're heading. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a minority, but that's what I feel. I want to sit back and go, they aren't listening to gamers and they're not doing things that gamers want. And then whatever they're trying to push succeeds. And it's obvious that, like, for us gamers that have been doing it most of our lives, it doesn't make any sense. But for the younger generation, they're setting the younger generation up to be us.
See, I kind of feel the same way as Yield, but it's disappointing to me because I think a lot of gamers that are in the know really had hopes that as time went on and, that our leaders, our senators, our governors, our congressmen, all that stuff, they are the people that grew up playing video games and would have a better understanding of what video games are.
You know how old most of the people in Congress are? Like, most of the people in Congress are, like, fucking old.
Well,
like,
that's what I was going to get to. What I'm saying is we were hoping that time would shuffle those people out and our generation would move into those roles and have a better understanding, so we wouldn't get people like Jack Thompson and our political people talking like, oh, video games are bad, they cause violence, all this stuff. To go with
Tricky, look, I'll let you finish your thought, but American politics has always been, we allow people to stay in places for way too fucking long.
I agree.
That has always that's been something that's persisted. So why you think that our generation, you may see more of that now, but still, there's so many people, that just keep getting voted in, and that's the way it's been for such a long time.
Alex, I agree with you. I don't want to turn this into a political discussion, because I do believe there should be term limits on our senators and our governors and stuff like that.
But this isn't a question about our politicians. It's about the people making games.
Well, that's what I'm saying is my hope, at least I thought this was a universal hope, but my hope personally, speaking from me, was that these people would grow up and get into those positions where we wouldn't have these problems, with our government talking about video games and stuff like that. So,
Tricky, I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is the shit like Ubisoft is doing with Outlaws, or... Look,
that's part of Alex, that's part of the problem, is that the people that are now making the games are, I don't know the right word, but they're not the people I hoped that would get into those spots that are actually wanting to make video games for the sake of making video games.
But they're RH, Tricky. Like, people making games today are RH. I mean, you have, like, you'll get Tribute Games who made Shredder's Revenge, and they talked about how much they love Turtles, and they were just happy to make the game, and you can tell by how much fan service they threw in there and how many references there were that they were fans of Ninja Turtles. And how they had to fight to get that game, to make that game, because Nickelodeon didn't really care if they made it or not.
Yeah, but that's one game out of how many?
But Tricky, again, you're bringing politicians in this when it's not really anything to do with the politicians. Like, demonizing video games, sure, that, blaming video games for mass murders, like that kind of stuff, like that you'll see every once in a while. Like, yes, you want to bring up politicians when it comes to that. That's fine. But when it comes to trends in the video game industry, like, Congress isn't setting that. That's Ubisoft and EA and Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony. Like, that's who's doing this.
But do you think that's a direct correlation to our politicians and the fact that they're making? I don't want to use the word woke or safe, but they're making video games that are not going to trigger the politicians.
No, I think people make games they want to make. People have certain beliefs, and that comes out in how they make their games. Like, again, people who make games are just the same as anyone who does music or who acts on television or who writes a movie. Like, they want to make the piece of art that they want to make. And sometimes stuff like that gets thrown in there, whether you agree with it or not, it's going to be in there. So, like, obviously the people who make Naughty Dog, when they chose to do stuff and add stuff into Last of Us Part 2, that's because they believed that it would need to be in there. And they feel like certain aspects, like representation, are important. Whether you like it or not, Naughty Dog chose to put them in there. So I think it really comes down to, what the question really comes down to is, more than anything, is this pesky need to make money. Let's be real. Like, so many changing things about the video game industry, whether it be live service or microtransactions or macrotransactions or game passes sold before you even get to play the game. That all comes down to money. And there are lots of people out there that view the idea of, hey, Tribute Games, we'll make a really great Ninja Turtles game and people will buy into it. And guess what? They fucking did. And they'll be like, hey, well, people love this game. We'll make DLC for it. We'll make more money for it. And they did. And then you have these other companies that are like, well, we spent so much money to make this game and we have certain financial, goals we need to hit. So we need to make sure we make this much money. So let's tie in as many things to a collector's edition as possible. Let's add as many cosmetics as we can or sell $40 cosmetics. So you have the people that believe in making a good product and the people will come and support it. And then you also have the people that believe they need to tie as many financial weights to a game as possible to make the money. There are people that look at the money aspect first, and there are people that look at the game itself as a way to make money through keeping their customers happy.
All right, Matt?
So I group this with two types of people. Are the developers who are going out there, like Alex said, to make money because that's what they want to do. They want to make games, and that's their way of doing it. And then you have the group of people who want to make a game for the love of the game, and those are going to be your indies, your people who, people making like Dave the Diver or some shit like that. And what ends up happening is people working for companies like EA or Activision or Ubisoft, even though they may be doing something that they love, they're beholden to their managerial staff and the stakeholders and the shareholders and everything that has to be done with that. So they have very rigid lines that they follow, and therefore they're beholden to some visions that they may not believe in or agree with or want. Whereas you get indie developers who go out there and make games how they want to, how it's designed, how they feel the game best fits their vision. And you're getting some of the best games ever these days off of those indie developers. So as a result, you have these people who grew up loving video games going, I want to make a game, I'm going to get into it. And it's kind of like going into work for GameStop. You think that it's going to be this awesome job working, playing, and talking about games, when in actuality, it's just another retail job about games. So it's, I haven't been a game developer myself, so I can't say what the soul-crushing life is like in that world, whether you're indie and you don't have the financial funding or backing to really get to what you want, or if you're working for a large company and you're just treated as another pawn in the machine, and you're you're forced to do whatever the corporate overlords want. It's two sides of the same coin, really.
All right. Let's move on to our topic of the week. Matt, again, I'm going to lead to you because I've read this article 5 times and still don't understand what they're trying to get. This is coming from Ars Technica, written by Job Brodkin. ISPs can charge extra for fast gaming under FCC's internet rules, critics say. The Federal Trade Commission is looking to adopt new rules that some net neutrality proponents say could allow ISPs to adopt a plan that allows them to charge to fast lanes. At the basis of their argument, they state the new rules do not have a prohibition against positive discrimination. This means an ISP could potentially create tiers of speed that will allow the ISP to charge more for those higher tiers. This process has been called network slicing, where telecommunications vendors say, quote, many gamers are willing to pay for enhanced gaming experiences, end quote, and would pay more for guaranteed gaming experiences on top of their monthly fees. Analysts have urged the FCC to clarify that its proposed no throttling rules would also prohibit ISPs from speeding up and slowing down applications and classes of applications. A recent filing asked for a ban on selective speeding, but was denied as the organization indicated the current FCC definition of, quote, throttling, end quote, is expansive enough and an addendum was not needed. A certain addendum was not needed. Okay, so those are all your notes. This is where I'm confused, Matt, and I'm hoping you can clarify this. This sounds to me like they want to charge for faster speeds, which is what they do now. Like, if you want a gigabyte connection, you pay a certain, if you only want 300 megabytes or 500 megabytes, you pay that price. But if you want the faster speeds, you pay more. That's what it sounds like to me, but maybe I'm missing something here.
All right. So I'm going to take you back to the Obama administration, where they implemented a version of net neutrality rules. Net neutrality rules state at a base level, you cannot treat traffic differently. Meaning, if I'm going to, let's say I'm on Verizon Fios, and I want to look at something under AT&T or Cablevision or Optimum. Under the rules put in place, or I should say the fact that the Trump administration revoked those net neutrality rules meant that if I'm on Verizon Fios and I'm looking at AT&T stuff, or I'm looking at T-Mobile, things like that, technically the ISP can turn around and go, we're going to slow down traffic to 2 kilobytes a second to these sites.
Okay.
Specific case-by-case basis. What is happening now is, as they're trying to implement the net neutrality rules back into place, yes, ISPs already do sell faster speeds for more money. What I think this is doing is that opponents of this new rule, or analysts looking at this new rule, are saying, that's great. You're saying that they can't slow anything down, but you're saying that you don't have any provision in there to say that they can't make people pay for faster service than what they're getting for like a fee. So if I'm paying for a gig, if they say, well, since you're a gamer, you have a gig, but if you want 2 gigs for, your computer or your application, pay an extra $10 a month. Not saying that needs to be, obviously a gig is more than a gigabyte down, gigabyte up is more than enough for gaming. But let's say there's people who aren't as lucky as me, who have to pay, let's say $200 for a gig under Cablevision or something else out there. What's happening is it's just more nickel and diming to get those faster speeds, as opposed to an overall bandwidth. And this has been the issue with net neutrality rules forever, at least in my mind. You have you have ISPs out there who will charge you for a certain allotment of usage. So whether that be a terabyte a month or 2 terabytes a month. And once you reach that, they're going to slow your traffic to a crawl until you pay more. Net neutrality would say you can't do that. You can't slow down traffic because of some ubiquitous cap you put on. Because frankly, data caps are bullshit. They don't matter in the grand scheme of things. That's like saying, you can only drive your car from New York down to Delaware before we start charging you. For every mile over that initial allotment, we're going to charge you more to use these roads. And kind of a bad analogy because we have tolls and things, but imagine you're taking a free lane. You're taking a free ride down.
But don't I don't want to cut you off here, but isn't the United States one of the only places in the world that doesn't have data caps? Because I know, like, I think England has them. I think Australia has them, where you can only go a certain part before they cut off your internet.
There's maybe other countries. I'm not an expert in that aspect. All I can say is I know there's countries like Japan and Norway that don't have as restrictive internet as the United States.
Well, here's the thing. We used to have data caps on our phones, and I can say now, as a T-Mobile customer, we have unlimited data.
Well, you have unlimited data, except until you reach a certain cap. If you look at your contract, and I'm not an expert in T-Mobile, I just know on Verizon I have unlimited data in that they're not going to charge me anymore once I reach my premium data cap speeds.
But they will slow you down after that.
They slow you down after that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I have a hotspot on my phone that it's 50 gigs. It doesn't shut off after 50 gigs, but my speeds dramatically drop.
And they're not going to charge you anymore after 50 gigs.
Right.
Unless you want to pay. But in our old plans, you hit your data cap, they automatically charge you on a per megabyte basis or whatever it was. So back to my analogy, if you're driving all the free roads down to, let's say you want to go to Florida instead of Delaware, you could take free roads. It's going to take you forever. But if you pay a little more, you take the fast roads, which is kind of, when you consider what ISPs are, they're roadways for data. That's the angle I see ISPs taking, is that you want the faster speeds you're going to pay for, which I have no argument against. I can't say that because they have to allot that bandwidth for all the data that they're handling through their tunnels. Just like the U.S. Department of Transportation has to allot the number of cars on the road, the number of commercial vehicles on the road. And they just put it up and say, these are the tolls. You want to use it, this is going to be your toll. And then they have restrictions on what cars or trailers can use what roads because, commercial trucks can't use the parkway. They have to use the turnpike, and you have to have certain weight restrictions. Anyway, the point being is everybody's so caught up on the idea that ISPs can slow you down that the new rule is saying, okay, you can't slow traffic down. It has to be treated neutrally. Whatever data is out there, you cannot slow down. Analysts are saying the fact that you're so hung up on that you're saying you can't slow down means that they can charge you more for faster speeds or charge you more on a per usage basis. Like you're a gamer, so therefore, we want to charge you this to get your game boost, or you're a streamer, so we're going to charge you this to get your streaming capability. To your point, Tricky, yeah, ISPs already kind of do that, but right now the net neutrality rules aren't in place yet. So there's a lot more intricacies, a lot more details to it than we can cover here, but at a basic level, that's kind of what everybody's looking at.
So let me just, before I'll go to Yield first for his comment on this, but just so I have an understanding of this, if you were to use me and Yield as an example, Yield uses his internet to stream, TV shows, movies, stuff like that, and let's just say Yield, for whatever reason, decided to move to New York and has the same exact internet I have, a gig up, gig down. from what I'm getting from you is that Yield using his internet that's only streaming movies and playing video games online is going to pay a set price, but they're going to try to charge me more because I'm using more bandwidth because I'm streaming and I'm doing and podcasting and all that other stuff. Is that basically what you're trying to say?
Yeah, they'll say you're limited to this speed unless you want to pay more.
Okay. Yield, the floor is yours.
It doesn't surprise me. The government or industries always want to charge more for their product. I don't agree with it, but that's me.
Okay, Alex?
Yeah, I'm the dude. Every time my internet bill goes up, I'm calling the company like, "What the hell? What's going on?" Like, I'm bitching about it. Luckily, with last time our bill went up, HBO Max, or I guess I should call it Max, was like kind of grandfathered in, so we do have that perk in there. We don't have to pay for Max; we just get it. So I guess that's another part of having our internet. That's it makes the price a little more acceptable. But I'm not gonna lie, even where we live, our internet capabilities sometimes are kind of suspect. Like me losing connection sometimes on these Skype calls is kind of bullshit. And for what we were supposed to get, I don't know, man. You want to start charging me more to do this, to do that? You better make sure your internet capabilities are spot on, because if I ever lose service or anything like that, it's like you're gonna give me some of that money back, because I don't know. Even in affluent areas, I find a lot of times internet connection to be not as good as what we're paying for, or at least what we're sold. It's always a condition like, well, if you're wired in, you can get these better speeds. And it's like, I don't know if you understand how most people use the internet, but most of it's by Wi-Fi now. Most people are not wired into most of their devices. So when you say like, oh yeah, you got a gig up or a gig download or something like that, it's like, well, you probably should tell me that it's only wired and I get like a fourth of that through Wi-Fi. But we're getting into a whole big discussion about how dissatisfied I am with internet service. But yeah, until don't even talk to me about charging more until you can actually, for your services, provide the actual services you're selling people.
And what I see happening is companies are just going to charge, they're going to raise the price. Going back to my example of me and Yield, they're just going to raise the price overall and not say, oh, well, you're a gamer, so we're going to charge you more, or you're a streamer, we're going to charge you more. They're just going to make me and Yield pay the same exact price, and Yield is going to overpay for his service where I'm paying what they want me to pay. That's what I see happening. Matt, you explained it all, but your thoughts on, if you have any more thoughts on this?
Well, like I said, I've never had an issue with paying for a fast lane. I have issues with bullshit data caps where once you reach that cap, they'll slow you down or charge you for more, because their goal is, well, you use this much, we're going to slow you down so that way other people can use it. That's not my problem. I pay for the internet. I pay for the bandwidth. You figure out how to best do this. Don't advertise those speeds when you can't handle everybody being on it at the same time, because that was the old days before fiber optics got everywhere. If you had optimum and your entire row of houses had optimum, I would slow down because 3 of my neighbors were streaming at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as well, because what a lot of people don't know about the internet is they promise you, these speeds, but if your neighbors are all using high-powered Wi-Fi devices, everybody's internet slows down. And there's no way, because I got Verizon, I got a gig up, gig down. To me, there's no way Verizon can ever guarantee that I'm going to hit a gig. And every time I've ever done a speed test, I've never hit a gig, ever.
Well, here's what they need to do. They need to stop selling it at that price. They need to go by the average. This is what the average is, so this is what we're going to charge you for it. Don't go for the tip top, ceiling, because you're never. How many percentages of times are you going to get that apex?
But the averages are going to be different in every neighborhood. Your neighborhood, where Alex, I've never been to your house, but let's just assume there's 20 houses around you. Your internet, well, I'm saying your internet is not going to be overloaded as much as mine, where I have 120 houses around me.
But here's the thing: when we bought AT&T, we previously had Spectrum. They told us that right now you guys are sharing bandwidth with your neighbors, but through us, we're just going to plug straight into your house, and it's just you all.
I don't believe that one bit.
That's what they sold us on.
Yeah, I don't believe. I believe they lied to you straight out.
Well, so here's the thing. And the reason why it's difficult and doesn't work appropriately when in the old style, because you remember your internet came in through a coaxial cable to your house, right?
Right.
Whereas now, like Tricky and I don't know about Yield and Alex, it comes straight through fiber optic. Fiber optic can handle so much more data compared to coaxial. And with the coaxial, what was happening was you were going out from your router to the backbone, which wasn't a fiber backbone, which again, if you're not on fiber, the backbones that Optimum and other AT&T and people were using couldn't handle that much data or couldn't parse out the data properly. Now that optical is in many places and continues to grow, they can parse out that data. It handles all that data. That's why optical is used. There's very little, even to the point of Ethernet. Ethernet has a 300-foot range before you get data degradation. Fiber doesn't have that small of a limit on the amount of data that it can pass through on long strands. So as a result, like Verizon Fios and AT&T fiber, they now have this fiber backbone that can handle all that data, and then from there, it's the fiber to your house, which keeps the data from degrading further. And what that means is you're no longer sharing that data, so to speak, with your neighbors, but in the end, you're still sharing your data with everybody on that network.
Right.
So if you're still having a billion people on the same network, it's just like you pick up your cell phone and you're trying to call during a statewide emergency. Guess what? All the lines are clogged.
All right, let's wrap this up because we are over the time. So let's close it out. Yield, let's do your shout out, sir.
Shout out to Tricky, Alex, and Matt for recording tonight. Shout out to Roboto and Parky and everybody else who was hanging out in Twitch chat. Shout out to V for all her behind the scenes stuff. Shout out to Tricky, Nitro, and Alex for Rocket League on Thursday. Shout out to Alex, Homer, Prepare to Die or Scum, and the Brain 76 for Helldivers this week, squadding up. Shout out to everybody, all the pimps and the madams of the Whoredom for hanging out on the site, the Facebook group, and playing games with either each other or us as a whole. You guys are all awesome.
Alex?
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the Fuel to the Fire, this Trippy Horse, our awesome community filled with people like JT, Mr. Tancredi, who we learned this week really, really likes raisins. Thanks, as always, JT, for being a
Raisin Bran is the shit.
Now, JT backs you up on that. Look, I'm going to say this. I also would eat some Raisin Bran. I'm fine with Raisin Bran. There's a few cereals I don't like. I mentioned one in the Trophy Horse Facebook page this week. We don't have to bring it up. But there's very few cereals I don't like. I have my favorites, but I also, don't dislike many of them. But yes, if you're members of our awesome community, which if you listen to this, how wouldn't you be? Thank you for continuing to support us. It means everything. A shout out to the guys, Tricky, Matt, and Yield. And then last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. And yeah, that is my shout out. Somebody shout out to Nitro. Give Nitro a shout out.
I'll let Matt do that.
All right. Shout out, Nitro. Thanks for being a part of the community. Always appreciate you coming in and busting Tricky's balls whenever you do. Shout out to you, gents, for hosting tonight. Good show. Shout out to, again, Saber, Roboto, and Parky, who are in chat today. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to tune into channel3.gg to gamify your social media. Who knows? You may even find a rare lucky coin around the site if you look hard enough.
Can I find a rare lucky trophy?
Somebody could give you a trophy for your post. Ooh. That is a thing that happens.
Ooh,
it's
I like that.
The only trophies I actually care about.
He does care about trophies.
Just the right ones. What else? I don't know. Shout out to my loving wife, V. Thank you for everything you do on and off the show.
First, I want to give a shout out to everybody that listens to the show. Thank you very much. Shout out to the Goddess. Shout out to Sweet Alma. Shout out to you guys. Even though you guys don't call me for Helldivers that often.
Like I told you, Yield and I played about a half an hour before we were on. You weren't on, so I wasn't going to try to waste time.
Yeah.
I got here, 3 minutes before we started?
Listeners, there was a day that I said I wanted to hell dive, and Alex goes, oh, you could have just looked on the PlayStation Network to see what we were playing. I'm like, yeah, because I'm watching the PlayStation Network to see what Alex signs on.
Okay,
Alex could have simply sent a text message saying, hey, we're hopping on, and I would be like, I'd be right there.
Listeners, Yield and I both said in that chat on our phones that we would both play. Later on, when I jumped onto PlayStation Network, guess who was playing Hogwarts Legacy?
Because I didn't know you guys were playing.
Tricky was playing.
Okay, so let me ask you, Tricky.
Hold on, real quick.
Go ahead.
So Yield and I got onto the PlayStation Network. Tricky was already on the PlayStation Network where he can see what we were playing.
If I knew you guys were on.
So you do not have your system set up to show that your friends are online?
No, and I'll tell you why. It's not anything personal towards you guys. It's because I stream a lot, and well, not your name, but Alex's real name would come up. Matt's real name would come up. So
not if you have your settings set that way.
Say again.
Not if you have your settings set that way.
No. If you are like a close friend, it shows your real name, and there's other people, not just you guys, that pop up that. I know, like, if your name was to go out there, well, not Yield, you're Briscoe County Jr., so, but...
that was another reason I changed it.
Right. So, there are people out there that use their real names, and I don't have their permission to broadcast their names, and I universally just made a decision to stop the notifications on my PlayStation so it doesn't pop up when I'm streaming, because I didn't want to just, like, let that information fly.
Tricky, that's all well and good, but as much as you said that we could have texted you, you could have also said, hey, guys, I saw that you wanted to play tonight. When are you jumping on?
You're right. The fault's on both of us. But I do also want to give a shout-out to everybody that's been commenting on the YouTube videos and the TikTok videos. I was going to try to cover some of the comments because we had some good comments lately, mostly coming from the tipping conversation from the former Blizzard president.
Ybarra.
Yeah.
But what? That they probably agree that it's a really good idea.
I mean, we can quickly go through them if you want, but we're over time already.
Let's just say that we're really glad that David B is enlisting in the Helldivers, and leave it at that.
All right, so I will cover these questions on another episode.
For democracy.
I will cover these questions on a future episode. We just ran out of time this time, but thank you guys for everybody. For watching and listening, and if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Later.
All hell Megatron.
Oh, he said something. Matt, you stopped saying something. I was always really sad about that.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12th Zone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.